Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So it's time to give you a full review of the Alcatel Idol Onetouch 3, the 5.5. Let's get into it. Alright, so it's time to give you a review of this device here. This is the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3, the 5.5. Now this thing has some pretty impressive specs, to say the least. I'll start with the techie stuff first, and then I'll get into some of the real-world tests that I did, and that I'm using how I'm using this device currently. So the display is a 5.5-inch 1080p display. It is very impressive, coming in at 401 pixels per inch. As you can see here on camera, it's pretty bright, and it's surrounded by these little speakers here, and a camera up here, and some proximity sensors up top. But the display itself really pops. It's a really nice display. It's not the best display I've ever seen on a phone, but it is one of the brightest displays. It's definitely brighter than some of my other devices that I have, and that doesn't mean that it's the best, but it's very clear. In sunlight it looks pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. I keep it at about 50%, and I keep it on auto sometimes, or sometimes I'll take it off of auto, but nonetheless the display is really nice. I think you'll be impressed if you were to pick this one up. The body of the device, the back has like this matte feel to it, and it's surrounded by these chrome edges, which the device is completely made out of plastic to my understanding. But it has a 13 megapixel on the back with a single LED flash, and a 8 megapixel on the front, if I'm not mistaken. Cheat sheet. Yes, 8 megapixels on the front that does shoot 1080p. And it takes really good pictures on the front. The rear camera is not the best camera I've ever seen, because specs only mean so much, but it does take good pictures, and that's really what the end user would want to see. The end user wants to take good pictures with the front and the rear, and do good selfies with the cameras here. The body of the device has these dual front-facing speakers that are just beautiful. An added touch to have the sound come directly towards you. Now, the sound on this is not going to be the best sound that you've ever heard on a device, but since the speakers are facing you, it appears that they are much louder than what they really are. I did some sound tests against every other device that I have here, and to my surprise, it wasn't the loudest, and it wasn't the clearest, even though it's backed by JBL. Now, the speakers that come with you get a set of JBL speakers, and you will be blown away at the sound of this phone with the JBL speakers in, and even with the dual front-facing speakers, you'll have a nice experience. But I just wanted to let it be known this is not the loudest set of speakers out there, and it definitely does not rival the M8, I would say, or the M9, or probably even the M7 for that matter. But they are nice. I like them. The next thing I want to talk about is the processing power. Now, so a lot of people have been complaining about, or I shouldn't say complaining, they've had some concerns about lag, and people who don't have the phone instantly, something I've learned about the Android community is when a person does not have an Android phone, one of the first questions they ask is, does it lag? Well, all Android phones at some point or another are going to lag. Even my more higher end devices show some form of lag at some point or another. There is no perfect phone out there that won't show any kind of disruption, and there's going to be something wrong with the device, whether it be an iPhone, Android, Windows, something. It has to crash at one point or another, or something has to go wrong with it at one point or another. A stutter, a hiccup, something. It just has to happen. My experience with this device is the only time I have some real experiences with lag is when I open up the multitasking key and I close them all. That's when you can see the real lag in this device. Other than that, I haven't had any bad experiences with lag. This device is nearly stock, and I think it does a good job of staying that way. I like their overlays with the way they have their folders, icons, and everything. Other than that, it's not going to be like what you think. And what some people are a little bit more intense than others, and their standards are really high when it comes to devices. Some people will buy the most expensive phone because society says it's the best. When in real-world testing, you can get this phone right here for $249 and $199. Some of us got it for, and it's just as good as all of the other phones that are sitting on my desk over there, including the G4, the S6, and every other device I have sitting on the iPhones. This phone is really good, and it's well worth it. Call quality on here has been pretty good. I haven't had any problems with it. Both speakers are pretty good. The sound is a little muffled sometimes when you turn it on speakerphone, depending on what volume you have it at. Other than that, I think you'll have a good time using this on speakerphone, and the clarity of the voice. As you can see, I kind of have it linked to Bluetooth a lot, but still, when I use it as a phone, it's like such. The sound is good, but when I compare it to some of the HD calls that I've gotten, it's, you know, it's there. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's about average. Now, one thing I will say that surprised me was the battery life on here. The battery life is not what I thought it would be. I'm averaging about 4.5 hours of screen on time, and I can make it through a full day. But the fact is, with a 2,910 milliamp battery, I really thought that I was going to get much better battery life out of this phone. But you know, it's still 4.5 hours of screen on time with heavy use is definitely pretty good. And I say with heavy use because I use the device, and I'm going to use it for everything. I'm going to game on it and do whatever, just to make sure I get all that I can get out of the device in that one day. I did do some gaming on here, and it's pretty good. The gaming, the stereo experience that you get from the speakers facing you sounds really, really nice. Just the overall feeling of using this phone is pretty sweet. And they have this feature, let me turn it on real quick, where you can flip the device and use it in any orientation that you want, and it's reversible is what it's called. And you can, if a call comes in, you can use the phone in upside down, or it doesn't matter how you do it. Another thing that I wasn't too impressed with was the ID, where you use it you look at it and it unlocks your phone. It's a nice feature, but again, it goes along into the gimmicky side of things. You know, it's not something that I'll use. It's more of a hassle for me to do this, because if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to enter my password or PIN or wherever I set up anyway. And that's what I've ran into. I set it up and it'll pop up and it says it's going to do it, and then it doesn't do it, and then I end up entering in my password. So nonetheless, it is there when it works. I found it to be kind of finicky, and it didn't work a lot. I got it to work maybe 1 out of every 10 chances that I tried. So in well-lit rooms, it just wasn't very solid. So it's a good idea though. I like it. So that's a full review of the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3 I wanted to give you. I really like this phone overall, and for the price point that I paid at $199, and even if you pay $249, you're not breaking the bank with this device, and you're getting some killer specifications, and you're getting a killer experience. The 5.5-inch display is really nice. It's 7.4 millimeters in thickness. That's really thin. It's a great device. I wouldn't tell you not to buy it. I give this phone about an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10, solely because I was expecting a much better experience with the speakers, and then the battery life is not where I wanted it to be. I was looking to get at least 6 hours of screen on time when compared to some of my other devices that I have that can last a long time. Some devices I have can last for days with heavy use. The Huawei Ascend 2 is a killer. Now I know that device has a 4,000 milliamp battery pretty much, but still, this has a 2,910, and even the G4 can go a long time, much longer than this device, and it has a 3,000 milliamp battery, and this is pretty much stock. So I think that nothing a software update can't fix, but I still say that this device, I mean, you see how beautiful the screen is? That is beautiful. For $199 or even $249, why wouldn't you pick up this device? I think next, I've been getting a lot of feedback on the Zenfone 2. I actually did order the Zenfone 2, but I had some problems with the order, so I don't know if I'm going to step into the arena of the Zenfone 2, because I have some other devices that I want to look at, and I'm pretty excited to be an owner of the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3 5.5. There's been some question about the 4.7 version. I'm really excited, just like you are, to get the 4.7 version, and I probably will get it because I would hope that it's not priced more than this phone. Alcatel, if you're listening, I think if you price the Alcatel Onetouch Idol 3 4.7 higher than $200, you're going to probably lose a few people on that, because they're going to start moving towards this one. And this one does have quote-unquote better specs, But specs only mean so much. What if the 4.7 is a better experience? And, you know, I think it's a direct competitor for the iPhone 6. Now, I've put this up against the iPhone 6 Plus. That video is not available yet, but I will be posting it soon. Just stay tuned for that. But the 4.7 is very appealing, and it will appeal to a broader audience. So if you price it correctly, i.e. $179 to $199, maybe even $189, you're in direct competition, and you're going to blow a lot of people out of the water, especially the Moto G line, because this phone has dual front-fired speakers. It's got a beautiful display, and I think it's really, really nice. That will compete with a lot of phones on the market. This phone is fairly priced at $249. I think that's a very fair price. And if you were smart, you pre-ordered and got it for $199. Not that you're dumb, but you know, you got to do it, because I just know a lot of people now are kicking themselves saying, man, I should have got it for $199. But when the pre-order comes up for the 4.7, I highly suggest that you guys jump out there and get it, because I will be placing my order depending on if the price is right. So again, I could tell you have to price these phones right. $249 for this model is great. That's a lot. You have an SD card and a removable battery. One other gripe that I have about this phone is it doesn't use a nano SIM. I had to upgrade and change my SIM card just to use this phone, and I was pretty perturbed about that, Alcatel. So I don't know if anybody's put an adapter in here, but you don't want to put an adapter in a phone like this. So I had to change my SIM card on one of my lines just to use this phone, and I wasn't too happy about that. I was pretty upset. Nonetheless, I'm enjoying the phone. The 4.7-inch model needs to hurry up and come to the market, because you don't want to wait too long, because you'll lose customers like another corporation did with the Onetouch One. So don't do that. Hurry up and bring the 4.7, because everybody doesn't want a big screen like this. From what I've read online and what I know people personally, they would prefer a smaller screen. So I would think that you guys would smarten up and go ahead and release this device, get it into production, and get it into the customer's hands, and you'll be happy that you did it, because 4.7 is going to be a sweet spot for a lot of people. It's your man Jay Will. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. If you don't have this device, I think you should get it. Take care. Now I'm going to sign out like Max. Max Lee. I love this guy. He's a fantastic reviewer. I got to slow it down though. Yeah. And I slow that down. Peace.
Alright guys, I appreciate you joining me in another video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this, and thumbs up. And I will see you in the next video. Take care.